Down to 2, final play of the third quarter. Blitz coming, but Tari is swallowed up. Meanwhile, Smith lost the handle. Bilella for 3. It's good! And Gusto now will rise up from the 5-meter line and score!
That's a terrific ball, and it's up. Deep, he does. Shot is up. And good! Baker hits! But it's on the ball. No! Top! Kenny Moore! Wow!
He won, and now it's McCauley who can finish it out. And he gets the ace.
Wilson, here comes the rush. Wilson on the reception, another touchdown for Tariq Wilson.
Pass centered up, great read by Unke, outside Cruz, tools it.
Looking for Laurent down the near side, who's got it inside the 5.
And that's victory number 48 without a loss. And
OTC, your champion in 2019.
To it. The end of a tough year, San Diego State, once again, the Hawks soaring over all they survey.
We have a new champ. It's Fullerton College, and the Hornets are in 2019.
And we welcome you back to Huntington Beach for Golden West College softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Game 2 of our doubleheader today as Golden West welcomes in Saddleback College for the second now of this 4-game series this week. Game 1 in the books, an 11-2 win for Saddleback. And we will get set to get going here in Game 2. Ann Thiebert once again will lead things off for Saddleback. Golden West, Lali Rios gets the call in the circle. She was at first base for much of Game 1, but she will get her opportunity to pitch to start Game 2, and she starts off with a rise ball outside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes on Thiebert. The center fielder leading off again. This one laced but foul up the left field line. Thiebert, the left-handed hitter, in her freshman season out of Mission Viejo, Trabuco Hills High School. In Game 1, and was 2 for 4 with a walk. So she had a productive Game 1 at the top of the order. Fly ball left field, Viramontes there for out number 1. So Thiebert retired and we're underway. That'll bring up Marilyn Francisco, who had an enormous Game 1, 3 for 5. A double and a couple of singles in the big win for Saddleback. Saddleback now 2-0 on the season. And an extreme change of speeds on that pitch, and it floats in high for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes on the catcher, Marilyn Francisco. She'll be followed by Emma Estep. For those who have been listening, and we're happy you've joined us, you might have noticed that I have been not referring to Saddleback as their previous name, the Gauchos. A decision was made, for those that might not be familiar with the story, to dispense with the nickname the Gauchos for all Saddleback sports. And so for now, Saddleback are simply the Saddleback softball team here playing today. And I imagine a decision will be made moving forward if and what a name might be chosen going forward for Saddleback College. But for those that might be wondering about the repeated reference simply to Saddleback College, that is what it will be for the time being for all Saddleback sports. 2 balls and a strike. The count on Francisco. Lifted into right center. Islas on the run, but she's not going to get there. This is on to the track. Francisco around second. They're going to wave her to third, and she's going to make it. A little bit of trouble for Villa coming up with that throw on the relay, so no play at third. Francisco continues her hot hitting, as we'll give you a look at the replay, and this good power the opposite way for Francisco. She drives it to right center, and Sienna Parker Islas giving chase, but too far to go. And Francisco once again ignites this offense. 4 hits now in 6 trips in a little over 1 game. And an early scoring opportunity for Saddleback with a runner at third and 1 down, and Emma Estep is the batter. Fastball inside for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes on Estep.
Ball, play it first. I got home. Okay? Not the lead runner. You get the ball.
Estep was 1 for 4 in the opener. Did have a couple of runs scored and a run batted in. Made the reference to the fact that Estep really got that big 6-run 4th inning going with a big 2-out single that opened the door for a number of 2-out hits that would follow, that really allowed Saddleback to take control. What had been a 3-0 lead quickly ballooned to 9-0 before Saddleback closed out the 11-2 win in 6 innings in Game 1. 3-0 now on Estep. Just inside. Estep walks on 4 pitches. Saddleback has things going right away here in the top of the first. Here comes Katie Schmidt, who started at first base before finishing the last 3 innings in the circle for Saddleback in game 1. Schmidt was 1 for 4. Did have a big RBI triple in that 6-run 4th inning. And then was hugely impressive in her college debut in the circle. Schmidt, a freshman out of Riverside, and makes the jump to college ball and allowed the first 3 batters to reach before at one point setting down 8 in a row after that. So she did a great job in the circle, finishing up. Eventually closed it out in the 11-2 win. 1 ball and 1 strike on Schmidt. Rachel Varela on deck for Saddleback. Couple of changes in the lineup for Golden West, and we'll get to some of those changes. 2 balls and a strike. No changes for Saddleback. 9 players available today. So Nick Traney, not a big challenge, I suppose, to write out the lineup card. He's got that going for him. But a different challenge of sorts with a very short roster for Saddleback. But a talented roster, certainly, to be sure. Off to a 2-0 start. 3-1 now on Schmidt. Viramonte's back in left for Golden West. Sienna Parker Eastless again in center. Michelle Sheedy out in right field. 3-1. Schmidt takes that one inside. Estep breaking for second, but that will be a non-factor, and now they're loaded with 1 down. Sarah Carpio at third. Jasmine Rodriguez at short. Casey Villa at second. Yasmin Banos returns at first. Jasmine Vasquez again behind the plate for Golden West, and Lali Rios starting in the circle and in some trouble right away here at the outset. A triple and a couple of walks, and they're loaded with 1 down for Rachel Varela, who is having a monster day at the plate so far. Just 4 for 4. A couple of doubles, a couple of singles, 2 runs scored, 2 runs batted in, and now she's got an opportunity here to do some major damage early for Saddleback with the bases juiced and only 1 down. First pitch and the rise ball on the corner for a strike. Give you a quick look at the replay here. Rios has the sign, kicks and delivers. Change outside for a ball and a strike on Varela. This is a tough assignment for Lali Rios because Rachel Varela's got to be dialed in right now. Safe to say she's seeing the ball well at 4 for 4 on the day. Lined and over the bag and into center for a base hit. This will score 1. They'll hold the runners. Another hit for Varela. That brings home Francisco. Saddleback out in front now, 1-0, and the bases remain loaded with 1 out. And now Ronnie Beliza will be the batter. What was that, Mike? Okay. So now it's Beliza with an opportunity. This one bounces in, and Vasquez able to keep it in front. 1 ball and no strikes. That was a good piece of hitting from Varela, who didn't exactly get all of that ball, but you see some of the strength that she has going back to that hit. Looked like they got it in on her hands pretty good, but she just got enough muscle to get that out past second base and into center field. We'll take a look one more time back at this one. This is a nice job of using good strength to just get that ball out of the infield and into center for a base hit for Varela, who remains perfect on the day at 5 for 5. And Saddleback trying to take control early here in game 2. And Stephanie Morrison's going to come out, and it'll be a Golden West conference. Ronnie Beliza. Will be the batter. They're in at the corners, Carpio and Banos. And Rodriguez and Villa have cheated in a couple of steps up the middle. So really at all four positions, Golden West going to look to come home on a ball hit on the ground, you would believe. Two balls and no strikes now on Beliza. Rios rocks and fires in for a strike. 2 balls and a strike. Beliza talked about the pitching, and with good reason, but what a day at the plate so far. 2 for 3 with a walk, 3 runs scored. So she's doing it all. Popped up in foul territory, and Vasquez has it. Everybody has to stay put. That's a big out for Lali Rios and Golden West College. Great location. In on the hands. And Beliza retired, nobody moving, and now it's down to Ashanti Woods. Base is still loaded now, 2 down. Saddleback has come up with a number of big 2-out hits today. And that has been key. And if you're looking for some storylines of this matchup today, that has been a big one. Golden West has gotten themselves to the precipice of getting out of some innings with minimal damage done to keep it tight, but Saddleback has had a way so far of coming up with big hits at big moments. And that's been the difference in the 11-2 win earlier. And we'll see if it's a difference in game 2. As right away, we have a big 2-out situation. 2 down, bases loaded, 2-0 count on Woods. Fouled back. Woods was 1 for 4 in the first game. Big 2-run double in the 6-run fourth. Two-one pitch from Rios. Jammed her to second, and this is going to be an interference call. Yep, there it is. Villa coming in for that one, and it was Varela coming off of first. And we'll take a look at the replay here, and this is not a terribly difficult call. As you watch the collision there, as Villa really denied an opportunity to effectively play that ball by Varela running hard between first and second. And that will bring the inning to the close as Woods pops out to finish it off. Saddleback with 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 3 left on base through half an inning. Saddleback 1, Golden West coming to bat. Saddleback with the 1-0 lead. If you're a Rustler fan, it certainly could have been worse. They had him loaded with only 1 out, but had to settle for 1 run as Rios was able to work out of trouble. And now the Rustler bats will try to figure out Ronnie Beliza. Bouncing ball to short, big hop for Varela. Over to first in time, and Islas retired on 1 pitch for the first out. Beliza went 3 innings in game 1, allowing just 1 hit, no walks, 5 strikeouts. So she is back and set to go for game 2, and we'll see how long Nick Traney wants to let her go here in the second game. And you imagine it's going to be about as long as he feels that the game is still decidedly in doubt. No balls and a strike. So it's 1 ball and no strikes. Let's correct the count real quick. Not exactly sure what the call was on Jasmine Rodriguez, the shortstop. Rodriguez 1 for 3 with a run scored in the first game. And there you see the good hard rise ball from Beliza. She works so well off of a number of different pitches. So we're getting the word that it was an illegal pitch called on the first pitch to Rodriguez, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And now Beliza wants a word with our umpire. And again, we'll try to keep you abreast. I think Mike's going to go and try and find out what this is all about. Checking with Tim Bremen here at Golden West College and see what this is about. It's hard to know if this is something about the call being made. It looks like that's what it is, as opposed to something that looks more like an injury concern or something like that. And you can see, obviously, as we'll keep the camera here, that they're going to go back and take a look in the circle. And no doubt this is something about what the issue is here in the early going. There's a call being made having to do with how the pitches are being thrown, and it looks like Beliza is concerned about something having to do with the rubber. So try to get a little more of a definitive answer on what it was about. 2 balls and a strike, but either way, Beliza's ready to go. Comebacker, and Beliza fielding her position well. That was squared up nicely by Rodriguez right through the box, but Beliza right there and comes up with this one cleanly. As we take a look at this one, if that one gets by, that's a base hit for Rodriguez. So Beliza helps herself, fielding her position, 2 down. Base is empty, and that'll bring up Seni Viramontes. Again, the fastball and a high chopper, and Beliza goes up to get that one. Over to first to retire the side. Easy bottom of the first for Saddleback College. And Ronnie Beliza, 3 up, 3 down. We're through 1. Saddleback 1, Golden West nothing. You're watching Golden West College softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Top of the second inning from Golden West College. Saddleback and Golden West here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Saddleback with the 1-0 lead. Michaela Maddox will lead things off, to be followed by Brenna Sickles, then the top of the order, Ann Thiebert against Lali Rios, Did get the final word on what the issue was in the bottom of the inning with Ronnie Beliza in the circle, and some issue, an illegal pitch was called, and then some discussion about exactly what the call was and perhaps what to do moving forward. The call centered around having both feet inside the width of the rubber at 24 inches. The call was that one of Ronnie Beliza's feet was actually outside of that area on one of the pitches. That brought the illegal pitch call, but Beliza able to square things and get it going to finish out the inning. Meanwhile, a bloop single for Maddox drops in front of Sheedy for a base hit to start the second inning. So right away, Saddleback with another base runner against Rios, and this one just well placed. Drops in front of Sheedy, who can't get to it in time, and that'll bring up Sickles. Sickles, one of a few incoming freshmen for Saddleback as they reload for 2021. In our discussion with Nick Traney, talked about a couple of players returning, but also a couple of players that were new, even among the 10 on the roster to start the season. Ashanti Woods, Brenna Sickles, Katie Schmidt among incoming freshmen on this Saddleback team here in 2021. A ball and a strike now, the count on Sickles with Maddox at first. Laid down by Sickles. Rios on it quickly, goes to first, but Maddox advances to second on a successful sacrifice. One down and a runner in scoring position. As again, watch Rios, and been impressed so far today with all of the pitchers fielding their position. Mike reminding me that our longtime partner and good friend Emery Johnson would be. Former pitcher himself. Very proud of the good fielding of the position. Never one that he considered a strength of his, if memory serves. He was, for all the things that he did well on the bump. Be the first to tell you. Fielding was not his long suit. In the hole at second, but ranging left is Villa to get Thiebert at first. This is a nice job by Villa, taking away a base hit from Thiebert on the play. Maddox advances to third. So 2 down. A runner at third, and Marilyn Francisco, the switch hitter, will turn around and bat lefty and take a fastball for a strike from Rios. Another 2-out opportunity with a runner in scoring position for Saddleback and Marilyn Francisco, who has swung the bat incredibly well today. 4 for 6 on the day. And now on the season, she's got her average up to 444. And 4 for 9 just outside for a ball. 3 balls and no strikes on Francisco. Emma Estep waiting on deck, and I think Rios trying to get Francisco to chase something out of the zone, but good discipline as she takes a strike there. Now it's 3-1. You don't see this too often. Now Francisco will turn around and bat right-handed in the middle of an at-bat. I don't know if I've ever seen that one before. Interesting. She had it cut back toward the screen and out of play. Full count on Francisco. It's surprising to me as I look out in left field and I see that Viramontes was actually in a few steps. And Francisco has already shown great power on a ball that is carrying. to the outfield generally today. And now, just as I say that, she backs up a couple of steps. 3-2. Lifted into shallow left, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Francisco, who has hit the ball so hard today on a number of occasions, picks up a big 2-out RBI on one that she didn't hit that hard. The blooper just in back of Rodriguez at short. And Rodriguez, Islas, Viramontes, nobody could get there. It drops in for a base hit. That's a big 2-out single. And Saddleback pushes the lead to 2-0. First pitch to Estep, a strike. She walked her first time up. Maybe Cindy Viramontes knew something. She was in a few steps, and then no sooner do I say something, but a ball drops in front of her as that one squirts past Vasquez and back to the backstop, and Francisco will take second. That is of some significance, as now it puts a runner in scoring position with 2 down. Estep at the plate. Here's the pitch. Low and outside. Scoreboard has it at 1-1. I thought I missed a pitch. I thought it was 2-1, but all right, so it is 2-1. Bounce to third. Carpio with the throw over, and some difficulty for Banos on the low throw. Estep is safe. And this looks like the Rustlers should have been out of the inning. Nice job by Carpio. And she's got time, but the throw is a little low. Banos can't pick it clean. And it goes down as an error. And another chance for Saddleback, with runners at the corners now. Still 2 down, and Katie Schmidt will get an opportunity. That's a familiar refrain, unfortunately, for Rustler fans today, as Golden West does about 95% of it right with 2 down, and they look as though maybe they're going to get themselves out of the inning. But the miscue gives another chance, and now we'll see if Saddleback can take advantage and make the Rustlers pay. 2 balls and no strikes on Schmidt. And Rachel Varela, of the 5 for 5 on the day, waits on deck. Rios rocks and fires. Back toward the circle, and it's Rodriguez. Oversteps on the bag, retires the side. But in the inning, Saddleback adds a run on 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left on base. Through 1.5, Saddleback 2, Golden West 0. You're watching Golden West College softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's down to 2, final play of the 3rd quarter. Blitz coming, but Tari is swallowed up. Meanwhile, Smith lost the handle. Villela for 3. It's good! Gusto now will rise up from the 5-meter line and score!
That's a terrific ball, and it's up. He does. Shot is up. And
No!
Baker hits! But it's on the ball.
No!
Top! Kenny Moore! Wow!
He won, and now it's McCauley who can finish it out. And he gets the ace.
Wilson, here comes the rush. Wilson on the reception, another touchdown for Tariq Wilson.
Pass centered up, great read by Unke, outside Cruz, tools it.
Looking for Laurent down the near side, who's got it inside the 5. And that's victory number 48 without a loss. And
OTC, your champion in 2019.
To do it. The end of a tough year, San Diego Canyon. Once again, the Hawks soaring over all they survey.
We have a new champ. It's Fullerton College, and the Hornets are in 2019.
Bottom of the second inning. Saddleback with a 2-0 lead on Golden West. Rustler softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. We'll return next week with a full slate of games on SoCal College Sports. Are we back? Oh, that's right. We're back on Friday. We do have baseball coverage this week. Saddleback taking on the Rustler men. Baseball doubleheader on Friday. Good fastball to start for a strike from Beliza. She'll work to Rios, Vasquez, and Sheedy. And then just to stay with the original point, we do have coverage next week on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as Golden West will be playing Orange Coast College. So we hope, Rustler fans, that you will join us throughout the season for our coverage of Rustler baseball and softball. A swing and a miss going after the rise ball was Rios. And whatever it was in the first inning that had Beliza momentarily preoccupied, she certainly hasn't seemed to lose the focus on the task at hand. As Rios just reaches out and punches that one foul. And I know it's only 4 innings over a couple of games, but you can really sense how hard it is to square up anything from Beliza. The Rustler hitter still decidedly late on the fastball and rise ball from Beliza. Perhaps a statement about how effectively she changes speeds as well. And there's the high heat, and Rios is down on strikes. That's the first strikeout here in Game 2 for Beliza, who still through 4 1/3 innings of work today has faced the minimum. 1 hit allowed, but that hitter was erased attempting to steal. So Beliza has faced 13 batters through 4 1/3, striking out 6 of them and allowing just the 1 hit. Lined, and this is going to be a base hit. Vasquez rounding first. She'll head to second as Maddox gets it back in. And that is about as well as anybody has squared up something from Beliza today. As Vasquez takes it up the line in right field for a double.
Yeah, Vasquez goes opposite there and just, I wouldn't exactly say barreled it up, but got enough on it, kept it in play, and a runner in scoring position for Golden West.
It's a statement that's indeed, that is as well as the ball has been hit. As the fastball in for a strike from Beliza to get things started to Michelle Sheedy. Beliza rocks and fires up in the zone, and Sheedy lays off for a ball. Michelle Sheedy in right field for Game 2. She started in the circle in Game 1, went a couple of innings. Allowed 3 runs, 1 of them earned. Moves to right field, and again trying to go up that right field line.
This inning, Golden West has made a bit of an adjustment on Beliza, and that's a tough ball to catch up with, but you see him maybe with some better anticipation. They've had a pretty good look at her.
Well, Stephanie Morrison has been talking consistently from the third base box to her hitters about shortening up, and you get the feeling that she knows that obviously you're dealing with a very tough pitcher, and the first thing you want to do is just try and shorten up and make some contact, put the ball in play, and see if you can make some good things happen just from that.
Yeah.
You're not going to do yourself a whole lot of favors if you try to do too much.
No.
Against somebody who does such a great job, as Ronnie Beliza does, moving the ball around and changing speeds in addition to having dominating stuff. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count on Sheedy. Rise ball up and out of the zone. You can hear the audible grunt from Beliza. She's fired up. I don't know if it's because somebody actually reached second base, which doesn't happen too often. Or maybe it's just she only went 3 innings in the first game, so she's probably pretty loose. This isn't a whole lot of work for her.
Yeah.
In a day. Here's the payoff pitch to Sheedy. Called strike 3. Paints the outside corner. she is staying almost exclusively with the hard stuff between good moving fastball and a rise ball. And she has certainly flashed the change throughout her appearance so far today, but she really works, it looks to me, primarily off of hard pitches for the most part. And again, she starts off with a good fastball on the inside corner for a strike.
Had a quick back and forth with Ruby Rojas from Mount Sac, the team that just went up against Saddleback, and she was singing the praises of Ronnie Beleza, saying she is really good, great hard rise ball.
Popped up in back of third, and it's S-Step who has it to retire the side. The Rustlers threaten, but come up empty. No runs, one hit. No errors, one left on base. We head to the third. Saddleback with the 2-0 lead. It's Rustler softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Top of the third inning from Golden West College. Saddleback leading Golden West 2-0. It's Rustler softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Varela will lead things off, and given the way that she has swung the bat today, if you're a Rustler fan, this is about the best time to face Rachel Varela. She's 5 for 5. And you got the bases empty. That may be as good as you can do. Lined into center. This is another hit for Varela. Well, in the words of the late, great Jim Durham, Rachel Varela's got it stuck on automatic. It's just a good piece of hitting. Lined right back up the middle for a base hit. Single for Varela. Leadoff hitter aboard for the second inning in a row. Last inning, Saddleback turned it into a run to lead it 2-0. Beleza, the batter, she popped out her first time up. And that was a big play in this game, as Saddleback already had a run in. Lined, another base hit. Close play at second, as Parker Eastless got on that one quickly, as we'll watch the replay. Varela needed to let that one at least get down, if not get through, so she got a little bit of a late break to second, and Golden West almost turned that into a force out, but Varela was able to just leg it out. Back-to-back singles. Saddleback threatening again here in the third, already leading 2-0. The drop ball a little low and inside to Ashanti Woods, who popped out, ending the first inning. Saddleback already with 6 hits on the board as they bat in the top of the third. Change low from Rios. 2 balls, no strikes. Rios has already played at a couple of different positions, but she's no stranger to the circle as well. This is her third appearance in the circle already this season. Catches the outside corner for a strike on Woods, 2 balls and a strike. She's already worked 6 innings, and now a couple more today. Rios has the sign. Here's the 2-1. Woods squares. Bunted toward third. Carpio goes to first to get Woods. It's a successful sacrifice. Runners now at second and third with 1 down and an RBI opportunity for Michaela Maddox. Maddox singled and scored in the second. She comes up here with an opportunity to extend on a 2-0 lead. They're in at the corners, and interestingly, Sheedy and Viramontes, as well as Parker Isla. So all 3 outfielders in a couple of steps. 1 ball and no strikes, and it's clear here, especially when you're dealing with a pitcher that's been as difficult as Belisa has been to generate scoring opportunities against. You got to take some chances to cut off as many runs as you can. Even a 4 or 5-0 lead would feel all but insurmountable if you're Golden West, as long as Belisa stays in the circle. In on the hands. This is going to drop in front of Rodriguez, and everybody's going to be safe. So Maddox with an infield single. Rios with a good pitch was able to jam her, but that one drops in between Rios and Rodriguez in front of short. No infield fly with the runners at second and third. So Maddox ends up at first. The runners, meanwhile, at second and third, stayed where they were. So it's bases loaded and 1 down, and Brenna Sickles will now be the batter. In the dirt, Vasquez with the stop, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, here we are on the top of the third with nobody out. And with Sickles at the plate, Saddleback has already gone through the order twice. So I'll tell you about their ability to put runners on, generate scoring opportunities. And meanwhile, Lolly Rios has had to work in every inning. Sickles with a successful sacrifice her first time up, 2-0. Drop ball low. 3-0, and now Rios has got to come to her with something. With the bases loaded, no place to put Brenna Sickles. And Ann Thiebert waits on deck. 3-0 pitch, just outside. Sickles with the walk. That'll bring home Varela. And the lead moves to 3-0 with Thiebert, who's 0 for 2 at the plate. She flied to left and grounded to second. They're in at all 4 positions on the infield. Sheedy playing a very shallow right field for Golden West. On the outside corner for called strike 1. Thiebert 2 for 4 with a walk in the opening game. She's 3 for 9 on the season. One ball, 1 strike the count. Thiebert squares, low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. Well, the infield in at all 4 positions, even as fast as Ann Thiebert is, I'd be a little surprised to see her put one down. But she has shown the bunt and then pulled back on several occasions, does so here, outside a ball. 3 balls and a strike. Well, Rios has already walked 1 in. Got to come up with a strike to Thiebert here. Sharply grounded through the infield for a base hit. That'll score 1. They will hold the runner at third. It's an RBI single for Thiebert. So Maddox holds at third. Sickles at second, and now Thiebert at first. And the lead is 4-0. And Marilyn Francisco will be the batter. Francisco takes that pitch low for a ball. Well, were it not for the insane hitting stats of Rachel Varela today, Francisco would be pretty much a shoo-in for your offensive star of the game. For Saddleback today. 1 ball and no strikes. She had 3 hits in game 1, a couple of hits today. I should say in game 2. So she's up to 5 for 7 at the plate. And she's got a chance to add to those numbers here. With the bases loaded and 1 down, Saddleback already leading at 4-0. Outside a ball. And Rios quickly back up on the rubber. And she has picked up the pace. She's in some major trouble here. Off speed, over for a strike, 2 balls and a strike. And again, mid at bat, you see Marilyn Francisco turn around from the left side. And now she'll bat from the right side. 2-1. Lifted to center. Islas has it. All the runners will tag. Everybody will move up. It's a sacrifice fly for Francisco. Saddleback now with a 5-0 lead. Sickles moves to third, Thiebert at second, so good speed on the base paths for Emma Estep. As it looks like we're going to have a pitching change. And this might be, it looks like it's, is it Munoz moving over, or I should say Banos moving over from first. No, it's Sheedy coming in from right. So Sheedy will come on and replace Rios in the circle. And let's see if Lally heads out to right field. And Rios will head out to right field. So, well, there's a swap even I could follow, Michael. Sheedy in from right. And Rios will move out to right. We'll step aside, come back. Pick things up here in the top of the third. Saddleback leading at 5-0. Golden West College softball and SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's down to 2. Final play of the third quarter. Blitz coming, but Tari is swallowed up. Meanwhile, Smith lost the handle. Villela for 3. It's good. And Gusto now will rise up from the 5-meter line and score.
Terrific ball, and it's up. He does. Shot is up. And
No!
Baker hits. But it's up.
No!
Top. Kenny Moore. Wow.
21, and now it's McCauley who can finish it out. And he gets the ace.
Wilson, here comes the rush. Wilson on the reception, another touchdown for Tariq Wilson.
Pass centered up. Great read by Unke. Outside Cruz. Tools it.
Looking for Laurent down the near side, who's got it inside the 5. And that's victory number 48 without a loss. And
OCC, your champion in 2019.
To do it. The end of a tough year, San Diego State. Once again, the Hawks soaring over all they survey.
We have a new champ. It's Fullerton College and the Hornets here in 2019.
Emma Estep will be the batter against Michelle Sheedy, who takes over in the circle. Runners at second and third with 2 down. First pitch from Sheedy in for a strike. No balls and a strike on Estep. She's walked and reached on an error in 2 trips. A base hit to the outfield here. And Saddleback might push the lead to as much as 7-0 at the knees for a strike. So Sheedy's come in and jumped right on top of Estep. No balls and 2 strikes. Sheedy ready, rocks and fires. Change up outside for a ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And again, they leave Emma Estep with a big gap in right center as Rios cheats over toward the line in right field. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Estep stands in. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Vasquez going to have to throw down to complete the strikeout, and she does. So Sheedy comes in and puts out the fire. But Saddleback adds 3 runs. On 4 hits, no errors, 2 left on base. We're heading to the bottom of the 3rd with Saddleback leading Golden West 5-0 here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Bottom of the 3rd. Saddleback with the 5-0 lead on Golden West. Yasmin Banos, Casey Villa, and then the top of the order, Sienna Parker Islas to face Ronnie Beliza. Swing and a miss for strike 1 on Banos. Banos did not get an at-bat despite starting game 1 today, but was replaced before she came up in the order. So this is her first at-bat on the day and her first look at Beliza.
That's just
Beautiful
frightening
change.
right there. She takes a little bit off the gas and, man, still places it for a strike. 0-2.
Trigger on that one. You have to be so ready for the speed that you're seeing about 75% of the time.
It froze me from pressing buttons.
Right.
Can't imagine what it does to the hitter.
Here's the 0-2. On the ground to short, and it gets away from Varela. And Bagno's going to be safe at first, and that's going to go down as an error. And I think it's a good call, though you wonder if Varela would have had time from deep and short in the hole to get Bagnos heading down to first.
That's pretty well hit.
Yeah. So a base runner for Golden West to start the 3rd, and that'll bring up Casey Villa, the second baseman. Beliza ready. Back to the fastball, and it tails outside for ball 1.
Well, I have to imagine that the activity in the chat is related to Ronnie Beliza. Vicky Rose Beliza giving a shout out, I believe, to her sister.
Jump out on that limb? And,
yeah. Not exactly a stretch on my end, I'm sure.
1 ball and 1 strike. I'll agree with you. I think you're right.
Well, hey, we encourage people to, give their loved ones a shout out on the chat. If you have some time, you're watching at home, give them a shout. We'd love to hear from you.
If you say hi, I know Mike will pass it on.
I will.
We can offer you that.
Nothing colorful, though.
2 balls and a strike now on Via.
And remember, you can watch all of our games on our YouTube channel, SoCal College Sports 1. You don't just have to watch this from a phone. You watch this on a computer. You can watch this on an Apple TV, anything with the YouTube app. SoCal College Sports 1 is the channel. Hit subscribe.
Called strike 2.
Hit subscribe. You'll be notified of when we go live. And we'll be going live again this week on Friday. Doubleheader versus Saddleback for baseball.
Beliza has the sign. Rocks and fires. Ground ball to short. Varela going to go to second. And
dropped it.
A little trouble handling that one for Sickles. Everybody's safe. This will go down as another error. So back-to-back errors by Saddleback, and that is a departure. They had just one error in game 1 in the win. And going back to Mount Sac and the victory for Saddleback last week, Saddleback had no errors in that game. So talking about 15-plus innings with only one error, and now errors on back-to-back plays. For Saddleback, chopper to third. Estep going to step on the bag for 1. The throw across not in time. Islas hustling down the line, able to leg it out and stay out of the double play. So runners will remain at first and second. Now 1 down. And that will bring up Jasmine Rodriguez, who grounded back to the box her first time up. Beliza ready. First pitch up and out of the zone for a ball. Well, as much adversity as Ronnie Beliza has faced so far today, with a couple of runners on and 1 down as she works to Rodriguez. Bunted toward third. Estep in quickly. Fires down to get Rodriguez at first. The successful sacrifice puts runners at second and third now with 2 down. And an RBI opportunity for Seni Viramontes, who grounded back to the circle her first time up.
And here come the shout-outs. Liz Medina, huge shout-out to my niece, Jazz Rodriguez.
Just at the plate, his timing's impeccable.
Shout-out also to Crystal Rodriguez on the chat. The timing, yes, very impeccable.
Second and third, and here is Viramontes. Low for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes.
Is it a coincidence that as soon as the shout-out starts, now Golden West threatening?
Beliza ready. Lifted into right, drifting over. It's Maddox, and she's got it. And that should be out number 3, and it is.
Yeah.
Viramontes retired on the fly out. Golden West puts a couple on, but comes up empty. No runs, no hits, 2 errors, 2 left on base. We're through 3 complete. Saddleback on top of Golden West, 5-0. Rustler softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Schmidt, Varela, and Beliza due up for Saddleback in the top of the fourth. They lead at 5-0. Sheedy back in the circle. Fly ball right field coming on. It's Rios, and she can't come up with it. Meanwhile, Schmidt running hard is going to try for second and be thrown out there. So that'll go down as a base hit. And then Schmidt retired 8-6. No, we need Dennis here to really. He would know how to score that. One down. And Schmidt tries to stretch the base hit into a double, and she is thrown out at second. So one down, base is empty, and Varela, who's 2 for 2, will be the bat. Sheedy ready. Jammed her. Popped up in front of short, and it bounces in front of Rodriguez, and it's going to be an infield hit. So Varela stays perfect on the day. Probably should have been retired, but the wind has really picked up, and I think it's safe to say that Rodriguez had a little trouble reading that one off the bat. It's also shifted directions. It has been blowing out to left. It does occasionally switch and blow out more towards center or even toward right as it is now. So it's swirling somewhat. And Rodriguez and Carpio both had some trouble reading that ball off the bat of Varela. And she ends up at first with what'll go down as a base hit. On the inside corner, called strike to Beliza, who's 1 for 2, singled and popped out in 2 trips. Well, now the play at second that retired Schmidt looms a little bit larger as Varela reaches with a base hit after. So instead of 2 on and nobody out and another opportunity to put some runs on the board, Saddleback with 1 down and a runner at first and a 1-1 count on Beliza. Sheedy into the wind, bounces it in, and Vasquez able to come up with it. Varela will stay at first. Two-1 to Beliza. Hard grounder to short. Takes a nice hop for Rodriguez. Over to second for 1. And they'll get the force there. Beliza safe at first. 2 down. And Beliza at first now with Ashanti Woods due up next for Saddleback. Well, that was well hit, but good hands from Rodriguez as that one took a little hop up. Rodriguez handles it cleanly and goes to second to get the force on Varela. 2 down. Off-speed pitch in for a strike.
Beauty.
Watch there, and there's the drop action. On that one, looked like a good drop ball from Sheedy. Here's the 0-1. Lifted into center. Lawless there. And has it to retire the side. No runs on 2 hits. No errors, 1 left on base. We're through 3.5. Saddleback on top of Golden West 5-0. You're watching Golden West College softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
You're out.
Bottom of the fourth, 5-0. Saddleback with the lead on Golden West. First pitch swinging, popped up in front of home plate, and it's Francisco who will take it for the out. So Rios retired on the first pitch from Beliza, who will work into the fourth in game 2. She went just 3 innings in game 1 in the 11-2 win, but Nick Trainey going to let her go a little bit longer here in game 2 with the 5-0 lead, as Jasmine Vasquez, who doubled her first time up, will be the batter. Always fun for us, if we could just briefly step aside for a moment to talk a little bit about our history, to see Saddleback, because of course that has a lot of personal history for us. This is where it all started for us 10, 11 years ago, with you and me, buddy, coming here and having the opportunity to come out and cover Saddleback sports for the infancy, even before it was SoCal College Sports. This was the team that we covered, and we crossed paths with a lot of people that we've known for a while, among them Brad Hoyseth, who's shouted out to us a couple times today and talked to us about a couple things. And it's great to cross paths with people, but yeah, Saddleback's got some personal relevance for us as well, so it's fun to have our association with Golden West College this year, and we're really looking forward to that, enjoying that, but also to see some of the good people at Saddleback as well again.
Yeah, the first season that we covered Saddleback basketball, I believe it was, that was the year that they won it.
Yeah. I like to think we had something to do with that.
Perry Webster, who's now the head coach.
Another well-hit ball from Vasquez. This one's going to get into the gap and all the way to the wall. Vasquez at second. She's going to go for third. They'll wave her in, and she is safe with a triple. Well, not too many people this season have come anywhere close to figuring out Ronnie Beliza, but here might be somebody who's getting it done. This, again, driven hard the opposite way, and Vasquez gets around a little bit more on this one, takes it to right center rather than up the line, but this is a no-doubter. Yeah. She squares this one up nicely and drives it to right center. It gets all the way to the wall, and it ends up as a one-out triple for Jasmine Vasquez, who's now 2 for 2 in the game. That'll bring up Sheedy, and a golden opportunity here for the Rustlers to at least get on the board. Yeah. Trailing at 5-0. 1-0 now on Sheedy, who struck out her first time up.
Getting back to the history that you were mentioning earlier, Perry Webster, the captain, point guard of that championship winning team.
Oh yeah.
For Saddleback. Now the head coach at Fullerton College. Fullerton will get to cover them later in the year.
Yep.
We still do not have clarity on whether or not we will have the softball doubleheader. Speedy Mendoza is the head coach for Fullerton. She's very gracious with us. Her, Phil Thurman, Scott Giles, very gracious with us in their time whenever we do a game there. So obviously shout out to them. But 5-5 Cinco de Mayo, we may be covering softball here, the doubleheader versus Fullerton, but we will keep you apprised of that via the website, www.socalcollegesports.com. Also on that team, TJ Lippold. He hit the game-winning shot that I believe beat Citrus.
We were not there for it.
We were not there. It was just it's in lore.
We were in our infancy to even make it there. I don't think we made it until the next year. I think it was the first year we went.
They had not led the entire game up until the last minute of that game. TJ Lippold hits a 3. Just some crazy shot that, of course, we weren't there for. I don't even think we were video yet. We were just audio only.
Oh, we were definitely audio only. This one lifted to right. Maddox on the run. She won't get there. It's in for a hit for Sheedy, and Golden West is on the board. RBI single for Michelle Sheedy as Vasquez comes around to score. Score now 5-1. And we should mention that Perry Webster, I know he's gonna lead with his job as the head coach at Fullerton College, but he's also sometimes color analyst for SoCalCollegeSports.com. And I think Perry wouldn't want us to leave that out.
Oh. Actually, I think he would, because that means that he's not playing.
That's true.
If he had a choice, I think we both know where he wants to be.
I don't think there's any doubt about where he'd rather be. We would never delude ourselves to that level.
Finishing the point on TJ Lippold. TJ, assistant men's basketball coach at Eastern Washington University, made the tournament this year, nearly sprung the upset in the first round in their matchup. So always nice to see people that we've come across and have had the privilege of covering and moving on to bigger and better things, doing well.
Sarah Carpio will be the batter. She popped to third her first time up. Beliza rocks and fires and blows the fastball by Carpio for strike one. Well, that's just the second run that Beliza's allowed this year in 13 1/3. And for the Rustlers, they inch a little bit closer at 5-1. Swing and a miss. Looked like Carpio fooled on that one. Couldn't hold up. No balls and 2 strikes. Beliza does such a good job on the fastball, and particularly with the rise ball, in keeping it up and out of the zone, where there really isn't much chance that you could do anything with it. Gets the strikeout snap throw down, and Sheedy is back safely. But Beliza fans Carpio for the second out of the inning, and that'll bring up Yasmin Banos. 5 runs, 10 hits, 2 errors for Saddleback. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error for Golden West. Banos reached on an error her first time up. And again, a little late on the good fastball from Beliza. And even now, as we watch Golden West bat in the bottom of the 4th, you're just not seeing many balls hit to the left side. The Rustlers have made a nice adjustment, shortening up, and have hit the ball well to the right side on a couple of occasions, but it is hard to turn that pitch around. No balls and 2 strikes quickly on Banos. Casey Villa would be next if Banos can keep the inning alive. Vasquez with the big blow, the triple. And she came around to score on the RBI single from Sheedy. Cold, strike 3. Banos down on strikes. Saddleback out of the inning, but Golden West gets on the board. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, 1 left on base. Heading to the 5th with Saddleback leading Golden West 5-1 on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Top of the 5th inning, no balls and a strike on Michaela Maddox leading things off. She'll be followed by Brenna Sickles and Ann Thiebert. For Saddleback as they lead it 5-1. Sheedy back in the circle. Hot shot to third, and Carpio up with it and across to retire Maddox. So Maddox hit the ball hard. But nothing to show for it as she's thrown out at first. One down, and that'll bring up Sickles. Rustlers have had some troubles in the field so far today. But what I find interesting, in a kind of random way, is that the troubles have been far more throwing the ball. Fielding the ball, I'm not sure that any of the errors have involved fielding the ball. The hands coming up with the ball have been great. They've been outstanding. Just a little trouble with the accuracy on the throw. Pop towards short, and Rodriguez has it for out number 2. 2 down. Only mention it because that was another terrific play by Carpio on that first ball. Hit hard by Maddox. That is no easy play, though Carpio certainly made it look that way. 2 down, base is empty. Thiebert, the batter, she's 1 for 3, goes after the first pitch and fouls it back. Again, these same 2 teams will be back in action on Friday. A doubleheader at Saddleback. No balls and a strike. Outside for ball 1. 1-1 on Thiebert, who's had a busy day. 3 for 7 with a walk on the day. Slow roller to second. Bad hop for Villa. She recovers, though. Goes to first and not in time, and Thiebert's going to be safe. That's what will certainly go down as an error on Villa, but kind of a hard luck error, as this one just takes a nasty hop on Villa at the last second. Let's watch this one. I'm going to jump up and get her on the arm, and that's a tough break, and with the speedy Thiebert getting down the line, once it gets away from you, you've got no chance. She's going to be safe. So Thiebert at first, she's got good speed. Grounded to third, Carpio across for the out to retire the side. So the 2-out error goes nowhere. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left on base. Heading to the bottom of the 5th, Saddleback with a 5-1 lead on Golden West. You're watching Rustler Softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Bottom of the 5th inning. 5-1 lead for Saddleback. It'll be Villa and then the top of the order, Islas and Rodriguez. And there we have scoured the internet and found the picture of Perry Webster in the Saddleback uniform.
And by scoured the internet, Brad Hoyseth sent that to us.
Brad, working under our auspices at some level, perhaps. But yeah, there it is. Perry, floor general that he was. We remember it well. No balls and a strike. Hey, see a 3C2A championship as a player and as a coach.
Stud.
How many guys can you say that about? A ball and a strike, and that one got a piece of Villa. So the hit by pitch, first one of the day for either team. And the Rustlers have the leadoff hitter aboard with Sienna Parker Islas due up. She's 0 for 2, grounded out and grounded into a fielder's choice.
Got her foot.
Elisa ready. Leans and fires. In for a strike. No balls and a strike. The count on Parker. As we were told, she's called. So we'll shorten it up for Sienna Parker Islas. No balls and a strike. The count. Elisa ready. Here's the pitch. Up in the zone, and Islas can't hold off. Now she's in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Jasmine Rodriguez waits on deck. Parker's back in. Here's the 0-2. Lifted to left. Woods under it and has it. Villa retreats to first. 1 down now, and Rodriguez will be the batter. She's 0 for 1. Grounded back to the circle and had a successful sacrifice in 2 trips. Rodriguez did have a hit back in game 1. 1 for 3, did eventually come around to score a run. In the loss. First pitch swinging, slow roller toward third. Estep with a little trouble, but gets Rodriguez at first on a good, strong throw. Not an easy play for Emma Estep, who didn't come up with it cleanly, trying to backhand, and Rodriguez runs well. And I think Estep gets a little bit of a break here. As we'll watch, great job on the camera and on the replay. Boy, that was close. But just by maybe a 1/10 of a step. That's not even half a step. But I think Estep scored that one a little bit for the positioning, because Estep catches a little bit of a break that she's inside the bag. Gives her a little more time to gather and then make a good, strong throw to get Rodriguez by a hair. No balls and a strike. The count now on Viramontes. Villa at second with 2 down. The Rustlers trying to pick up a 2-out hit here and maybe pull back within 5-2. Keep this issue somewhat in doubt here in the bottom of the 5th. Golden West, you go back to 2017 and a winless season. And then Stephanie Morrison takes over, and 6 wins, 4 wins, and then last year the breakthrough. Fly ball left center on the run. It's Thiebert, and she's got it to retire the side. Come back and talk a little bit more about that when we return. We're through 5 with Saddleback leading Golden West 5-1 on SoCalCollegeSports.com. part of the order due up for Saddleback in the top of the 6th. Estep, Schmidt, and Varela. And if anybody reaches, Ronnie Beliza. Sheedy back in the circle. She has been solid since coming on in the 3rd, blanking Saddleback over the 4th and 5th innings, as Golden West has inched just slightly closer at 5-1. So hard to make a lot of headway against Ronnie Beliza. No balls and a strike on Estep. 0 for 2 with a walk. Lined into left field. Vera Montes reaches up, but she's not going to get it. This will go all the way to the wall, and Estep into second with a leadoff double. Well, Estep's been in the 3-hole for the first 3 games for Saddleback, and there's a little glimpse of perhaps just why, as she turns on that one and ropes it to left for a leadoff double. And that'll bring up Katie Schmidt. She's 1 for 2 with a walk. Singled her last time up, but was thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. That was back in the 4th. Takes the rise ball for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes to count. Off-speed pitch bounces in. And Vasquez continues to be solid behind the plate. Estep will remain at second. 2 balls and no strikes to count on Schmidt. On the outside corner for a strike. 2 balls, 1 strike on Schmidt with Varela waiting on deck. Saddleback took game 1, 11-2. And they lead it here 5-1 in the 2nd. Drop ball low, 3 balls and a strike. Sheedy rocks and fires. Inside for ball 4. First 2 batters on for Saddleback, and here is Varela. 7 for 7 on the day. Well, last time up was as close as Golden West has come to getting Rachel Varela at the plate. Popped one up on the infield, but the swirling wind played havoc and ended up bouncing in and turned into an infield hit. But generally speaking, Varela's hit it on the screws. 1 ball and no strikes.
Barreled that pretty much all day.
Sheedy kicks and delivers. Good fastball at the knees, a ball and a strike. Take a look at the replay here, and it's a good location. See the dropping action on that one, and Varela takes it for strike 1. 1-1. Low ball 2. Up to the moment, now Varela's 8 for 10 on the season. Lays one down in front of the circle, and Sheedy gonna turn and go to third, and she really had no chance to get the lead run. Let's watch the replay, and I think here, unlike the one going back to a play earlier where we saw a bunt, and it was, I believe, Beliza at first, who was in an awkward angle to turn around and go back to first base. I think Sheedy really had the option here to go to first, and let's quickly update that they're going to call the runner out at third. It didn't look like the throw beat. And it could be, did she fall back off the base after sliding in?
I'll give it to you right now.
Yeah, well, we'll take a look at that one again. All right, so never mind the decision for Sheedy, as it turns out, to not make much difference. She elected to go to third, and the runner's out at third. So Varela retired. And it will be runners at first and second with one down. Nonetheless, it looked like kind of a curious decision, but maybe Michelle Sheedy had a better read on it from where she was. Ground ball into center, a base hit. They'll hold the runner Schmidt at third as the throw comes in from Islas. It's a base hit for Belisa, her second hit of the game. And now they're loaded with one down. As you watch the, I believe in Field of Dreams, that's what would be called a ground ball with eyes. A gork. Just one extra gork a month. You're in the show, Mike. That'll bring up Woods. 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. And a big opportunity for Saddleback to break this one open. They lead at 5-1 here in the top of the 6th, but they can push 2 or 3 across. It's going to be a huge mountain for Golden West to scale, as if it's not large enough already.
Yep.
And of course, if they can push 4 across, then they threaten the Mercy Rule win. One 1-0 on Woods. Sheedy ready. Low for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes on Woods. And obviously no place to put Woods, and that's going to bring Stephanie Morrison out to talk to Sheedy, who went just a couple of innings in game 1. Sheedy, I think safe to say at this point, the number 1 starter for Golden West this season, as she makes her 4th appearance of the season. Couple of starts against Santa Ana. Got the start earlier today in game 1. So we'll see if Coach Stephanie Morrison elects to stay with Michelle Sheedy for a while. 5 runs, 12 hits, 2 errors for Saddleback. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors for Golden West.
Well, Jeff, it's going to be an interesting fall when things come back to a bit of normalcy in the 3C2A, and football. Golden West, very good. Nick Mitchell at the helm of the Rustler Club.
Yep. 2 balls and a strike.
Saddleback is a team that we have started to cover in the past couple of years. Brad Hoyseth sets us up for a lot of success, and we are very excited to get into their new stadium when that is finalized in the fall.
I hope they'll let me in there. Woods turns on this one and lifts it to left.
Fair.
It's a fair ball. That'll bring home at least 1 run, but that is all it will bring home, as the runners needed to stay put to let that one ultimately come down. And Woods will get credit for an RBI single as Schmidt comes home to score. The lead is now 6-1. The bases remain loaded, and the batter will be Michaela Maddox, who's 2 for 3 on the day. Yeah, the football landscape, as you look ahead to next year, it just gets more and more muddled every year, it would seem, with more and more programs really stepping forward, and where once I think it was down to a few teams, now, boy, it's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
Everywhere you look. Another team that we cover will certainly be back in the fray. That's Ventura. Hot shot to second. Nicely played by Villa. Her only play is to first to get the batter Maddox on the play. All the runners advance. And Varela comes home to score.
I think they're going to check in on the player. I think she was
that was a hard hit ball.
It really was.
As hard hit as any ball today.
Let's look at that again, because that really jumped up and got her.
Yeah. Boy, and how about Villa? That's a lot of grit. That's putting yourself in harm's way for the team.
That's
right
a fact.
There, because she put her body right in the way of that ball, and that was probably not fun.
Yeah.
to take right there. And a great job staying after it. After that ball gets away, she recovers and does get the batter at first for out number 2 on the play. A run does come home to score. It's now 7-1 in favor of Saddleback with runners at second and third with 2 down and a 1-ball and no strike count on Brenna Sickles, who's 0 for 1. She's popped to short, she's walked, and she's had a sacrifice. Sickles tomahawks this one towards short. Rodriguez on the run, and a great pick at first by Banos to end the inning. Well, that was a tough ball all the way around. I mentioned that Sickles kind of went up in more of a tomahawk swing, and that ball comes off with a kind of odd side spin to it. So first of all, how about Rodriguez charging that ball, coming up with the ball cleanly as it spins on the ground, and then the great pick by Banos. Steve, maybe we can get that one more time as we take you out to break. We head to the bottom of the 6th with Saddleback now leading it 7-1 on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Bottom of the 6th from Golden West with Saddleback leading the Rustlers 7-1. Game 2 of our doubleheader coverage today of Golden West College softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It'll be Lally Rios to lead things off against Ronnie Beliza, who will work into the 6th now with a 7-1 lead. First pitch tails away for a ball. Rios is 0 for 2, struck out and fouled out. Rios to be followed by Vasquez, and then Sheedy. Good cut, but fouled back to the screen. A ball and a strike. And again, we made the point before, but I think it bears repeating that right there, Rios, with a good swing, appeared to have that one pretty well dialed up in terms of the timing. But again, it's so hard to square up. A little bit of late movement. And it's just hard to put the bat on it. And Beliza again tries the change and misses way outside. And that's such a stark contrast to the command that she seems to show on most of her other pitches. But we've seen that a couple of times today. And you wonder if maybe that's yet another pitch that Ronnie Beliza is trying to bring into the fold. As that one's fouled back and off of Francisco. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Wind continues to gust, but now it blows out straight to right. And we've seen some balls carry in the outfield today. Haven't seen one taken out of here. But definitely some in the gap. sky high to left, and Woods is there. So Lally just missed it. Ends up as a fly out to Ashanti Woods for out number one, and that brings up Jasmine Vasquez, who has had a day at the plate, 2 for 2 in game 2, a double and a triple, and she wasn't cheated on either one. So Vasquez, no doubt, comes in with a lot of confidence against Ronnie Beliza. And Beliza tries the rise ball. They'll appeal down, and Vasquez did not go around. That was close. We've seen a couple of calls that maybe could have gone the other way so far today, and that was close. And maybe this is one that really went the Rustlers' way. Haven't seen that quite as much. I think on a couple of plays that were a little more controversial in this one so far, the breaks have not gone the Rustlers' way, to my memory, as much yet in game 1. Not that that was a huge contributor. Ultimately, it was an 11-2 game in 6 innings, so I wouldn't for a moment want to even hint at taking away any credit from Saddleback in what was obviously a well-deserved win. Soft liner to short, and Varela has it for out number 2. So Vasquez perhaps gets a small break on the call, but isn't able to make anything of it. Ultimately retired on the soft liner for out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th. Well, while we've talked about the storyline of how Vasquez has hit the ball hard on a couple of occasions, you look up and 5 2/3 in, Ronnie Beliza has allowed 3 hits and 1 run. So put her team right where they need to be successful. And it looks like Beliza is laboring a little bit on the right side. Takes a quick walk around the circle. Now she's ready to go. And a swing and a miss. And yeah, you can totally see as you just watch from our center field shot from any angle. Keep your eye on Beliza, and clearly there's some issue that she's dealing with, but no movement from the Saddleback dugout, no movement from Beliza herself, who's going to continue on, but it will be interesting to see if maybe we see Schmidt in the 7th, or if they want to let Ronnie Beliza try and finish this one. Meanwhile, we're 2 down here in the bottom of the 6th with the bases empty, and a 2-1 count on Sheedy. And Sheedy fouls this one back. So hard to lay off that ball up in the zone. The rise ball, seen the Rustler hitters go after that pitch. And it's going to be a hard pitch to really turn around. 2-2 pitch. Chopper to third. S-step across to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down. We're heading to the 7th. Saddleback leading it 7-1. You're watching Golden West College softball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. It's down to 2. Final play of the 3rd quarter. Blitz coming, but Tari is swallowed up. Meanwhile, Smith lost the handle. Villela for 3. It's good! Gusto now will rise up from the 5-meter line and score!
That's a terrific ball, and it's up. He does. Shot is up. And good! Baker hits! But it's on the ball. No! Stop! Kenny Moore! Wow!
21, and now it's McCauley who can finish it out. And he gets the ace.
Wilson, here comes the rush. Wilson on the reception, another touchdown for Tariq Wilson.
Pass centered up, great read by Unke, outside Cruz, tools it.
Looking for Laurent down the near side, who's got it inside the 5. And that's victory number 48 without a loss. And
OTC, your champion in 2019.
And to it. The end of a tough survey.
We have a new champ. It's Fullerton College and the Hornets here in 2019.
Top of the order due up for Saddleback in the top of the 7th. They lead it 7-1. Trying to move to 3-0 on the young season. Meanwhile, Golden West still looking for their first win at 0-5. Sheedy pumps a fastball in for a strike to Thiebert, who's 1 for 4, reached on an error her last time up. It'll be Thiebert followed by Francisco and Estep. Line drive into right for a base hit. Rios got there quickly and tried to get Thiebert at first, but between her speed and getting out of the box from the left side, that is going to be a pretty tough play. I can remember one time in Major League Baseball, Mike, that I saw a guy thrown out at first from right field. Mike reminding us that it happened to him in Little League. Would have happened to me in Little League, but I couldn't hit the ball to the outfield. That one gets away from Vasquez. Thiebert will advance to second. It was a swinging strike for Francisco, so the count is no balls and a strike. But yeah, you could hear it, but I think it was more the sound of the glove. 0-1 pitch. This one hooked foul. And Francisco in a hole now, no balls and 2 strikes. She's 2 for 3 in game 2 with a couple of runs batted in. She's 5 for 8 for the doubleheader. Saddleback with 14 hits on the board here in game 2. Into right, this will drop in for a base hit. Rios up quickly. This is a bang-bang play at first, and Francisco just beats it. Well, where Thiebert was safe by a good step or two, this was very, very close. Rios read this one well and got on it quickly, and Francisco had to go all out to beat that throw to first. She doesn't get out of the box like she's thinking about 2. She might not beat that play to first. So good hustle from Maryland Francisco as Rios makes it a close play at first. First pitch to Estep is a strike. No balls and a strike. Saddleback now with runners at the corners, nobody down here in the top of the 7th. They're up to 15 hits in the game with 7 runs on the board. I think Golden West in this second game has done a better job of getting out of jams and ending innings. I know Saddleback still has the 7-1 lead, but for Golden West, they have been able to mitigate some of the damage in some of these innings and get themselves out and at least keep themselves in the game to some degree. But it's just been so hard to get some runs across themselves. Deep in the hole and into left for a base hit for Estep. 3 singles in a row to start the 7th inning. Another run on the board for Saddleback, and they lead it now 8-1. Francisco will hold at second. Schmidt will be the batter. The Saddleback bats getting dialed in. Nice stop by Villa, who flicks that one to first from flat on her stomach and does get Schmidt for the out. Let's watch this play again. And Villa, rather than risk trying to pop up to her knees and make the throw, I think the backhand flip will work. And she gets it to first to retire Schmidt on the play. Francisco and Estep move up into scoring position. Runners at second and third with 1 down. And Varela will be the batter. She's 3 for 4 here in game 2. 7 hits for the doubleheader for Rachel Varela. Good fastball from Sheedy for strike one. 0-1 pitch. Fly ball right field. Rios is there. And it looked for a moment like Francisco was going to head home, but she didn't tag up. So, Varela retired on the flyout, but it was a curious play as Francisco appeared not to have tagged up. So ultimately, she had to retreat back to third, and the scoring opportunity goes by the boards. I don't know if Francisco could have beaten the throw from Rios. It was a fairly shallow fly ball to right. So there ultimately could have easily been a play at the plate, but it didn't matter as Francisco had not tagged. So 2 down, runners at second and third. Belize at the plate. That ball inside. And the count now a ball and a strike on Ronnie Beliza, who's got a couple of more hits here in game 2. She's 2 for 4 and looking to help her own cause with 2 runners in scoring position and 2 out in the 7th. Beliza reaches out, pokes this one foul. 1-2.
A shout out to Tim Bremen, SID for Golden West.
Right up there.
Talk about a guy who sets us up for success.
Absolutely.
And Danny Johnson, of course, athletic director here at Golden West College.
Our thanks to the coaches as well.
Stephanie Morrison.
Yep. Nick Trainey took some time out from his schedule to talk a little bit this week with us. I really appreciate that conversation. Sharp grounder to short. Rodriguez with a long throw, and she will get Beliza at first to retire the side. Saddleback with 3 hits, but only 1 run. 2 left on base. We head to the bottom of the 7th, and Saddleback will try to close it out. They lead it 8-1 over Golden West. You're watching Rustler Softball on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Hey, pinch hitter Peyton Shaw will lead things off in the bottom of the 7th against new pitcher Katie Schmidt, who will come on to replace Ronnie Beliza, who will move to first base. So just as in game 1, those two will simply swap, and it will be Schmidt who will try to finish it out. Shaw got the start in game 1 at third base. Comes on as a pinch hitter here, takes the rise ball high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Again, we will be back on Friday with Golden West Baseball against Saddleback. 2 balls, no strikes. Should be the count on Shaw. Swing and a miss. Mike, I know we had kind of a small crew today. A little bit. You, me. Jorge Zepeda did come out and help us set up.
Joser. What's your last name?
Outside. 3 balls and a strike on Shaw.
And our camera operator today, Joser Garrison Quick.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard to remember. Joser Garrison Quick. What about former wide receiver Mike Quick? That's the only Quick I can think of in sports.
Anytime I hear the name Quick, I think of Harlem Nights.
Okay. I think of former boxer James Quick Tillis. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Didn't end well for Quick Tillis versus Mike Tyson, as I remember.
Shaw with a leadoff walk. Here in the bottom of the 7th. These 2 teams, Golden West and Saddleback, back in action on Friday for a doubleheader. That will be at Saddleback. We'll have a pinch runner for Peyton Shaw. It'll be Sarah Carpio, who will return and run at first. The batter will be Yasmin Banos. 0 for 2, reached on an error and struck out. Schmidt ready, rocks and fires. Bounces it in, Francisco. As that one scored away, but Carpio will stay at first. 1 ball and no strikes. The busy stretch for us. We'll be back on Friday, and then
Thursday and Friday.
Next week, coverage of both Golden West baseball and softball. Baseball on Tuesday and Thursday, softball for the doubleheader
versus
on Friday.
OCC.
Line drive left center. This will get down and be extra bases. All the way to the wall. Carpio at third. She holds, now goes. The throw comes in, and she's safe. Banos with an RBI double. And the Rustlers with another run on the board.
That one gets to the wall in the gap.
8-2. Sorry, Michael.
And there's a bit of a miscommunication at third. Runner that held up, but had enough time to get in. And
yeah, for a
it's
moment,
8-2.
that looked like disaster because Carpio held up and then they sent her, but it ends up being a good call as she is able to beat the throw and put another run on the board. So a big hit from Banos. And Schmidt, very similar to her first outing where the first 3 batters she faced all reached, and then she settled down and had a very nice stretch. Again, right out of the gate, some struggles as she walks Shaw and then gives up the rope from Banos. And she doubles in Carpio, who came on to run. Another bouncer. A ball and a strike. The count on Villa, who's 0 for 1, reached on an error, and she was hit by a pitch. I briefly alluded to the run of Golden West of recent years, starting with a season with no wins in 2017, but then Stephanie Morrison takes over. 6 wins, 4 wins, first couple seasons. Then last year, 8-12, including an 8-5 start before they got into conference play, and obviously then it only gets tougher once you start playing in the Orange Empire Conference. But that was a big step forward. And you know, for Rustler softball, they'd love to try and continue that momentum, but this is going to be a tough year to do it because line towards second, off the glove of Sickles and into right. Here comes Banos. She will score. Now Villa breaks for second where she's thrown out. Well, a lot happening on that play, and it started with an absolute rope from Villa, and she gets up a little gingerly. And let's remember that an inning or two ago, it was Villa who took a hard one hopper off her upper torso. And now this play, she hits the dirt hard going into second. And it's been a physical grind for Casey Villa, especially here in game 2. But she's able to get up and move her way off the field under her own power. So it would seem she's okay, but she gets credit for an RBI single, but she is also the first out of the inning as she's thrown out trying to advance to second. So the score is 8-3 with one down. And the base is empty, and Sienna Parker Eastless at the plate. I started to make the point that this will be an interesting year and a tough year for Golden West because unlike most other years, there's no non-conference schedule. So Golden West gets going right away in the very tough Orange Empire Conference.
Hey, you have the likes of Cypress in there.
Yep.
Fullerton.
Saddleback team that just beat, oh, by the way, Mount Sac in a game. And, even Santa Ana a year ago, 13 wins in 20 games, an over 500 team, a tough program. It's one after another in this conference. So
yep.
For the Rustlers, you expect that this will be a season that will go, again, toward the maturation of the program and the continuing building towards greater success as they move forward in the future. And I would hasten to wager that that's the plan for Stephanie Morrison as she takes over this program here into her third year.
I had a chance to talk with Stephanie Morrison before the season started, and a fascinating conversation. Ruby Rojas, who's the coach at Mount Sac, coached Stephanie when she was at OCC, and then her second year she moved to Mount Sac, and Stephanie went with her. And obviously they have a very close relationship, and you think about that pedigree in terms of Ruby Rojas, she's an Olympian. She played, I believe, in the SEC as well. I think she played at Virginia. That's an ACC. Excuse me.
Lined into left for a base hit. So the Rustler Bats have most definitely come alive here as this second game has moved on. They've got 3 on the board. That's 3 hits in the inning, and all 4 batters have reached safely. The only out was on the base paths. And obviously, as you look ahead, Golden West, if they can't make a big comeback here, could be falling to 0-6 on the season. But you try to look forward to some positives and something to take away from this as you look ahead to the 2 games on Friday, but also the whole season coming up after that as well. Yeah,
and just to finish my point, you have to have a lot of faith in the fact that Stephanie Morrison is going to round the corner, and this is going to be a program to be reckoned with within the OEC.
Yeah, a long stint as an assistant coach at Chapman where there's been an awful lot of success as well. So a lot of success in the pedigree moving on to Golden West, and in the process right now for the Rustlers of trying to turn it around after some down seasons. No balls and a strike the count on Rodriguez. 0 for 2, did have a successful sacrifice. Meanwhile, Schmidt just trying to finish this one off, and this has shades of our baseball coverage from a week ago where we saw Santa Ana with the big lead against Golden West, and then a furious late comeback by Golden West that fell just 1 run short in our coverage of that opening game of conference play a week ago.
That was a game that ended up 8-7, if memory serves. Right now it's 8-3 in the bottom of the 7th. Yeah. So.
And we've known from years of covering this, you'd be amazed how quickly these things can become a game.
Oh, no doubt.
1 or 2 hits here or there, and all of a sudden you talk the tying runs at the plate, and it's nail-biting time.
Yeah.
2-1. On the ground to short. Varela over to second for 1, and a good hard slide by Islas. No throw coming from Sickles, but Rodriguez safe on a fielder's choice, so 2 down, and now Golden West is down to their final out, trailing it 8-3. Cindy Viramontes will be the batter. She's 0 for 3 in game 2. Schmidt ready. Fastball tails outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Viramontes was 1 for 2 with a walk in the opener. Quiet day at the plate here in game 2. 1-0 pitch. This one taken right back up the middle for a base hit. Good piece of hitting from Senny Viramontes. That is the 4th hit in the inning for Golden West with a walk. So they're getting their hacks in against Katie Schmidt. That'll bring up Lali Rios. She's 0 for 3. Schmidt's got the sign, kicks and deals. One hopper back to the circle, over to first. That will do it. Golden West puts 2 on the board on 4 hits. No errors, 2 left on base. The final in game 2, 8-3 in favor of Saddleback. They move to 3-0. Golden West still looking for win number 1 on the season, drops to 0-6. Once again, a reminder, we'll be back on Friday. Baseball coverage here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. We will be back with softball coverage
next Friday.
1 week from Friday, so 9 days from today, if my math is right.
It usually is.
For Mike Cepeda, everybody here at SoCalCollegeSports.com, I'm Jeff Stoynoff. So long, everybody. Thanks for joining.